Time now for sports on 104.7 The Cave. Here's Ned Reynolds.
Mike, the intern, Ned Reynolds in the studio. Thank God it's Friday. So out of nowhere yesterday afternoon, the Kingdom is notified that Harrison Butker is going to be out 3 to 4 weeks. Got meniscus repair surgery coming up. My thought is it because when he kicks in his form, he lands on that knee repeatedly? Is that why this is happening?
Who knows? The thing about it is, here I'm putting together a few notes for today, and all of a sudden, here it is on my screen. I said, what on earth? How did this happen? Well, it had to have happened, at least I'm assuming this, in practice, because his name did not appear any time else during the week. Of course, they didn't practice till Wednesday. But here you have Wednesday, and at the end of Thursday's practice, which is when you have to list your injured players, here this is, a knee injury that's going to put him on the IR for, the rule is 4 weeks. So he's got to stay out 4 weeks and then have probably arthroscopic surgery. Now, from a surgical standpoint, this is, nothing is a piece of cake whenever you have an invasion of the body, but they'll trim up the meniscus, and he will go through rehab. It'll be a very brief rehab because he's in great shape, and he'll be all set to go. But in the meantime, I can't see the Chiefs missing a beat here because Spencer Schrader, who they have signed, is a kid from South Florida, kicked at Notre Dame at the end of his career, which was last year, and is a perfectly good kicker. He had some points for the Indianapolis Colts when he was with them, but didn't stick with those teams. They got him from the New York Jets, a practice squad. He's a kid. He's 25 years old. He'll be fine. I don't think this will affect the Chiefs. Other than their rhythm, I don't think it affects them at all.
Long snapper is good. You got the placeholder good. And then, of course, the guy they just picked up from the Jets, just like you mentioned, he has gone out and kicked. From what I saw yesterday, he was like 3 for 3 on field goals and like a few extra points. So he hasn't had a lot of action, but he hopefully can maintain the next 3 weeks for us. That's crazy. And then last night, I'm thinking, were the Commanders the favored team in that game,
no,
where the Eagles were
team.
favored? Well, then it kind of shows me what I needed to see was the Commanders really haven't played a whole lot of people, or the Eagles are finally starting to come on.
It's yes and yes. Philadelphia is playing a whole lot better than they did 7 weeks ago. They have gotten on a tear, and this is a good Eagles team, and it's a veteran Eagles team. The Commanders have Jaden Daniels at quarterback, and he is good. He's very, very solid player. He still doesn't have quite the line in front of him yet that he needs, but once he gets out, did you see some of the fakes that he threw last night when he was running? He's the real deal. Philadelphia's the better team, win it 26-18 over the Commanders, but the Commanders will be heard from, maybe not this year, but in the future. They're going to be awfully tough. Philadelphia is right now. They're playing well.
They are. They were definitely playing good last night. And I also, going into that game, didn't really think too much of either team's D, but they looked pretty good against each other. I mean, it was a lot lower score going into that first half than I thought it was going to be.
I thought it would be a little higher scoring too, but hey, that's pro football.
It is pro football, especially when you're in the city of love. All right. Where and what are the local college basketball games we should be checking out this weekend?
Well, we have 2 of them here in town, and they both run simultaneously, although I think the Bears game starts a little bit before Drury's does. But the Bears will be at home at the Great Southern Bank Arena at 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, and now they get some legitimate competition. That's not to say the 2 D2 teams who they played, Southwest Baptist and Missouri Southern, weren't legitimate, but it's a division lower. Well, Tulsa is not. Tulsa is an old, long-time Missouri Valley Conference former rival. Played the Bears so many times. We had great crowds when the Tulsa Golden Hurricane came up here to play on a regular basis. Well, now it's not regular anymore because they're different conferences. But Tulsa will be here in town for a 1 o'clock game. That's at the Great Southern Bank Arena. This will be a good test for the Bears. Drury will be playing Rogers State. Now, Rogers State's in Claremore, Oklahoma. It's a recent 4-year school, but they have joined the MIAA conference, and they are a pretty good basketball team. That game will be shortly after the Bears play, except that it's at the O'Reilly Family Event Center, so we have plenty of action going on. Missouri is playing Pacific tonight up in Columbia, and then Arkansas Pine Bluff on Sunday, and these should be wins for the Missouri Tigers.
How much are the Bears and Mizzou Tiger underdogs in their games tomorrow?
And they are both underdogs, both on the road. The Bears, of course, go to Fargo, North Dakota, play the number 1 team in the country in Division I AA, or FCS as it's called, and what a surprise. It's North Dakota State. They are the 9-time former national champs. They just load up. They are just really good. And North Dakota State, the Bison, it's Bison, B-I-S-O-N, but they throw a Z into the S and call them the Bison. Anyway, they are a 14-point favorite over the Bears. The other game, Missouri, is playing in Columbia, but it's Columbia, South Carolina, where they're playing, and playing a pretty good South Carolina football team. The Gamecocks have come out to play. They're number 21 in the overall top 25 rankings, and Missouri is a 13.5-point underdog to South Carolina. This is a big game for the Missouri Tigers. If they want to get a consequential bowl game out of this, they need to win this one, and then they need to beat Arkansas and Mississippi State still on the schedule. But the fact is that South Carolina will be a pretty tough hombre for them.
Definitely will be, but good luck to both those teams, more specifically my Missouri State Bears. Most of the high school football districts going to be decided tonight. And what's next after that?
It is for all the schools, the quarterfinals. They come up next week except one class, and that class is 1. Class 1, the smallest, and that's because of the influx of schools in Class 1. Marionville is the defending state champion, and they play a semifinal round in their district tonight. And it's kind of messed up. And then next week is their district title, but how do they get back into the scheme of things? There is no quarterfinal in Class 1. They go right from the district championships to the semifinals. All the others, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, have quarterfinal rounds, which will be next Saturday. Play next Saturday, November 23rd. The others, the Class 1 will be on November 22nd. But it's all boiling down to the state championship march in Columbia, Missouri, and that will be coming up here in the Thanksgiving weekend and should be an awful lot of fun.
2 weeks away, man. I can't wait. All right, so Chiefs head to Buffalo. Face off with the Bills, AFC rival, and has been for the last several years. Bills favored in this one, aren't they?
Well, the Bills are favored. I kind of thought the point spread might be exaggerated a little bit later on today with Harris and Butker being out of it, but so far that hasn't happened. Buffalo's a 2.5-point pick. It all depends on the money that comes in on this game. Ned Talk, of course, is at 1 o'clock right here on The Cave. The Chiefs pregame show is at 2 o'clock, and then the game starts in the neighborhood of about 3:15, 3:30, but you'll hear all of it right here on The Cave. This will be a very good football game. I'll save my prediction for Ned Talk coming up on Sunday.
Ned, you have a wonderful weekend, and don't miss Ned Talk. Starts at 1 p.m. on Sunday. Have a good one, buddy.